Hello, everyone. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us today. This is Prableen Kaur. I am the part of DIS, that's Devakar Immigration Services. And we have our CEO with us. He's Mr. Devakar Sharma. I would like to introduce him. He has evolved from being an amateur publicist to an expert communication specialist. He has always had a passion for understanding cultural differences, managing expectations, and challenging youth for securing a better future. Diwakar sir has most interested in working with youth, especially students from different cultures and origins. He has over 17 years of experience in international student recruitment, academic administration, teaching, public relations, and media management. Diwakar has completed the immigration practitioner program and has decided to pursue a career in the immigration field. Diwakar assists applicants with any Canadian immigration matter, including study permits, temporary resident visas, work permits, processing of postgraduate work permit, express entry, LMIA's permanent residence application, and Canadian citizenship. In addition, students and parents can always reach out to him for career counseling, course, and university selection as he has immense experience in helping students succeed in Canada. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Prableen. It's a pleasure to start this session with you. I think it's our very first session
Thank you so much.
to begin with,
It
and I look
is.
forward
Yeah.
to help out students who are thinking about Canada. And as this session is primarily going to be around
Yeah.
Canadian study permits, we are willing to take questions around that,
Yes.
anything. Um, and those who are going to join
Yeah.
this session, they
Yeah.
can send their questions to you. We'll take their questions, and later on in future sessions, we'll talk about
Okay.
immigration and different aspects. Yeah.
Definitely. I'm sure, students must be having so many questions in their mind when they are, applying for Canada, they are trying to study in the Canada. So here are a few set of questions I would like to discuss with you today.
Okay.
So can we start?
Sure. Please go ahead. Feel free.
So a very basic question. What is a study permit?
Yeah, very interesting question actually. For a lot of people, they don't know
Yeah.
the distinguishing difference between a visitor visa or a temporary resident visa and a study permit. So Canada
Yes.
grants
Yeah.
different kind of entry requirements to people who want to move here. For purpose of education, anyone
Yeah.
who wants to come to Canada and study for a period of under 6 months, they can do so on a visitor visa. Normally,
Okay.
the programs which they can take, they are like non-credit courses. That means that they are not going to get any credit to go to a university or a college, whereas anyone who wants to
Okay.
get a credential like a diploma or a degree, they must apply for a study permit. That means they must apply, the application should come to the Citizenship and Immigration Canada. They will assess it on
Yeah.
different merits and then see if this person should be allowed an option to study in Canada. So study permit, the name itself says, it permits people
Yes.
to come and study in the country.
Okay. So can they work
Depends.
simultaneously?
Yes, depends on what level of education these students are taking. So there is a big
Okay.
chunk of international students who come over to Canada to study, let's say, languages, or they come to study in high school. If they're doing
Yeah.
that, they're not allowed to work. If they're coming
Okay.
to study at a community college or at a university level, then the students are allowed to work. In the past, international students were allowed about 20 hours during the week, but recently, the
Okay.
Canadian government has changed the policy and they have said till next December 2023, international
Yeah.
students can work as many hours they want, and there's no limit on the time allowed for them to work.
That's a good news. That's a good news. That's a relief to students actually. Okay. So my next question is how can a student apply for a study permit?
There are a lot of things. We are jumping the gun here. Before
Yeah.
applying for a study permit, the first step the student and the family needs to take is to find out a right program for that particular student.
Yeah.
What are the goals of the student? Are they aligned with Canada or the Canadian education system and the job market? When the student approaches us or anyone who is assisting them to come over to Canada, our job first is to look at the credentials, look at what they have done in the past,
Yeah.
and how good they are. Will they be able to fit in the criteria of education or not? And then take it further. Who can apply? If Can you come again with the question? Maybe I missed that.
Who can apply for how a student can apply for a study
How
permit?
a
It's
student
how.
can apply? Yeah, the first
Yeah.
step, select the program. Second step, apply to
Okay.
that institution. Third step, once you have received the offer letter, depending on your nationality, either you will be able to apply under SDS or non SDS category. If you are under SDS, which is Student Direct Scheme, then you pay the 1 year tuition fee in advance. You must have appeared in IELTS. Your score should be
Okay.
minimum 6.5 to 6, no band under 6 at all. And you pay a GIC $10,000 in a GIC account. Then there are a lot
Yeah.
of documentation which are needed. A lot of students and families think we have paid 1 year tuition fee, we have paid the GIC account, we should get the visa right away. It does not work like that. There are a lot
Yeah.
more documentation with the government of Canada and the citizenship immigration staff would like to see. What they want to see is that will they be able to, or will they be able to fund themselves during their stay without working. You are allowed to work, that is true, but still they want to see that what if you're not able to get a job? Will you be able to sustain yourself or not? If yes, that's
Yeah.
fine,
Correct.
right?
Okay.
So a lot of financial documentations are required. Many people, they forget to suggest this to the students that they will need to go through a police clearance check. So that is very important. We need to get the
Yes.
PCC done. Then there's going to be a medical aspect as well. So you can do a upfront medical if you are going through a SDS program. And if anything comes up negative in the medical, you can be denied the study permit. Anything comes negative in your police record, you can be denied the study permit. So you have to go through a licensed immigration consultant who can actually tell you step by step what is needed. We cannot guarantee that you will get the visa. No one can guarantee that they will get the visa because that is the decision
Yeah.
of the immigration officer. But what we can suggest is that this is the right way, that's the right path, these are the documents required. So you provide us with these, and maybe we'll be able to help you out. Yeah. So I see there's a question
Okay.
here.
So these are these. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I
That's
I
okay. Go
see
ahead.
yeah, I see a question coming from Bangladesh. Um, so my friend, the
Okay.
question here is: I'm 40 years of age with 15 years study gap. I have university MBA degree in finance and banking in Bangladesh. Is it possible for me to study in Canada? Willing to go with my wife and a child. Um, Satyendra, thank you for your question. It's a very specific question here. Um, we can talk about it separately. We need to look into your experiences. The qualification you have already achieved is of a master's level. So we need to figure out as to what you can qualify to study. And once we have seen that, then maybe we'll be able to help you out to come over to Canada under the study permit. So let's connect later on. Thank you. Go ahead, Problem.
Okay. So my next question is, what are the eligibility criteria for the Canadian study permits? What's the eligibility criteria? How do
It's
we get
actually
to know
tagged,
somebody's eligible for it or not?
yeah, it's tagged with our previous question itself. There are many things which we need to look at. As I said, what have they done in the past? What kind of
Okay.
grades do you have, right? Canadian
Yeah.
institutions at the moment, if they look at students from Asia, they're not very open to, let's say, students from India. They are like, okay, we are getting students already, so we might not consider a lot of applications. They are looking for diversity and all. But when we are making an
Yeah.
application, we should ensure that we are choosing a program which relates to our previous qualification. Let's say there's someone who has just completed grade 12. For them, it's easier to find an institution in Canada. Someone who has done a bachelor's degree, let's say in India or in Bangladesh or in Pakistan, we need to look at their percentage, their grades, as to what is their GPA. If they're targeting a master's degree program, um, most of the Canadian public universities, they look for a B plus, and the B plus,
Okay.
when you convert that, is somewhere around 73% of grades. And most of the students might not qualify to get into a master's degree if they're coming from non-accredited or not a NAC university, as we know NAC in India. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
Students from universities like MIT, from Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University of Delhi, they will really qualify to get into most of the master's degree program.
Okay. Okay. So this is
I
how it
see a
works.
message. I see a
Okay.
message from Ramesh here. Hi, Ramesh. I hope everything is good in Nepal, and I will connect with you shortly. Go ahead, Prabhu.
That's great. Yeah. So, next question is, how long is the Canadian admission process?
That really depends on the institution. And many times a student will say that I have provided all the documents, I've uploaded it on the portal. Let's say if you're applying to any Ontario community college, the application goes through OCAS system. If you're applying to a university, then it's through the university system in Ontario, let's say, right? There's this portfolio,
Okay.
you apply all your documents, and then many times students, they forget to log in and check any messages coming from the universities or colleges, because if everything is clear, they will hear back from the institution depending on their criteria. Some institutions can give you an offer in a week's time. Some institutions can take up to 3 4 months as well. It depends on the institution, the program you're applying for. If you don't have all your documentation in hand, let's say you don't have IELTS score in hand, you don't have your full degree completion or the final transcripts, then you'll get a provincial admission, right? And some institutions
Okay.
don't like to give provincial admission, so it varies from institute to institute. Private institutions sometimes tend to be faster, but
Okay.
public institutions, they like to take things in a different way. They want to assess each and every application. They want to see if
Right.
the person really fits in or not, and then that gets applied. Yes.
All right. All right. So this, we have talked about the Canadian admission process. How long is the visa process?
Very good question. We have clients from different parts of the world. From India,
Yeah.
let's say these days, it used to be 3 4 months, couple of months ago. Right now, we are getting
Yeah.
offers under 35 days as well. Like the visas are coming within 30 35 days also. There are some other countries in Nepal, it could be 2 months. In
Okay.
Bangladesh, it can take 3 to 4 months. In Africa, depending on where in Africa, it can range from 3 months to 5 months as well. It depends on the
Yeah.
nationality of the person, the background checks and all. What government of Canada is very adamant at is, when you anyone applies for a study permit or any kind of visa, they want to see if the person is applying from a country where they're either a citizen of or a resident of. So let's
Yeah.
say someone is a passport holder of Pakistan, and that person is traveling to Malaysia on a travel visa. And if that person thinks that they can apply from there, it will take way longer, because that is just a temporary entry into the X country. So those things need to be taken care of.
Okay. Correct.
Mhm.
Right. So another question for you. How do students apply for a scholarship?
Yeah. Scholarships, I have to be very honest, a lot of Canadian universities, they're not that easy to give scholarships to a lot of international students. Some of the community colleges might be more generous, but that doesn't mean that
Okay.
Canadian universities don't give scholarships. But most of the scholarships would be merit based. on your percentage. Let's say you
Okay.
want to get into a top-notch university in a BSc computer science program. That university will
Yeah.
look at your grades. That university will see what extracurricular activities you have already completed, and then they, if you meet the criteria, they will give you entrance scholarships. These entrance scholarships vary from $1,000 to $5,000. Then there are
Oh
certain
wow, that's great.
universities, yeah, there are certain universities where the scholarships can go up to $10,000, $15,000 as well. But then the student has to be a top-notch student in their mid 90s to close to 100%, and a lot of other extracurricular activities. Yep.
I
But we can
understand.
suggest, but we
That's
can
nice.
certainly suggest the students, when they come to us, we look at the
Yeah.
documentation, we apply for the universities. Then during the admission process, and even after that, we can tell them that this is an option for them. They should apply. It doesn't harm in applying at all.
Okay.
Should I will always recommend
Oh
students to
yes.
apply. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's nice. That's nice. Great. Yeah. So the next question is, I'm sure you know a lot of students would be having this in their mind. What is the main difference between universities and colleges in Canada?
Okay. Very viable question. Colleges are autonomous. Like in certain countries,
Okay.
when we talk about colleges, we understand that they are working under a particular university. That's our mindset, right? That the college might be working under
Yeah.
university. Whereas in Canada, colleges are independent, autonomous degree, diploma, certificate granting institution. They work under the Ministry of Training and Community Colleges, right? Whereas
Okay.
universities are standalone universities, they seldom have these colleges under them. The major difference between a public university or or a college would be, the colleges tend to offer hands-on training programs. Most of these programs would be related to trades, technical skills. Very few degrees are granted by these colleges. Whereas at a
Okay.
university, a student has an option to start a bachelor's degree program, a master's degree program, a PhD, and a postdoc research. So, more thesis based, more research based, content based would be through the universities, more hands on would be through the community colleges. If you want to be a plumber, you're not going to a university.
Yeah.
If you want to be
Okay.
an electrician, you're not going to a university. If you are going to be a welder, you're not going to a university. So these would be through community colleges or private career colleges. Whereas if your goal, if an international student says, I want to go to a place where if everything goes well, even if I want to go up to PhD, I can do it, then we highly recommend them to go to a university.
A university. That's great. Okay. So, how much a student has to pay for an accommodation and food in Canada? What will be a rough estimation?
This is a very tricky question, probably. Um, and tricky in a way that depends where the student is going to, which part of Canada this student is going to go, which city this
Yeah.
person is going to stay, what is their standard of living, what is their expectation for themselves. If you're going to Toronto and you want to stay in a private accommodation of yourself, a single room, you can think about spending anywhere between $1,000 to $1,500 a month. Same way, if you're in
Okay.
Toronto but you want to stay in a basement and you're willing to share your room with two, three, or four other students, then the cost of living really goes down from, I can say, $400 a month to maybe even sometimes less than that if two or more people are sharing one room. When I say sharing a room, that literally means it's one room. There could be two single beds in that room. There could be four single beds in that room.
Okay.
And then you're sharing that place with other
Okay.
people. How comfortable you are, it depends on you. But if you're tight on budget, that's what a lot of people do. And that's the way for them to survive. When it comes to food and all, that again is your habit, right? What do you want to eat? If you're on a budget, a lot of people manage to survive on $200 to $300 a month. Then there are other students who like to go out to restaurants and dine out. They like to try different
Yeah.
things. Then the budget can really vary. That can change a lot. Yeah, like fine dining
Okay.
in Canada
So
is a
basically, it depends upon your habits.
yes, it does.
Yeah. That's nice. Okay. Yeah. So next question is, will the university help a student to find the jobs?
Okay, if you talk to any university, the universities will simply say that we are not job providing companies here, or our job is not to provide any student with a job, right? Their universities and colleges will be
Okay.
like, we are here to impart quality education, and that's what we will do. But at every university and community college, and even at the public colleges, private colleges as well, they have a department. Their job is to help international students to create a resume in a way that would be acceptable in Canada. So there are career services. A student can take an appointment at any of the institution they're going to. They will help the student to first create a resume, tell them how to face an interview, and whenever there's a job opportunity, these departments, they share all those job opportunities with not only international but with domestic students as well. So they all will have to compete, and then
Okay.
they can see if the job is theirs or not. Yeah.
Okay. So, what could be the other options to look for the jobs, if not the university? So, what do you think? Like, there are the other options for students to, just to guide them for a job. What do you think?
There are a lot of job opportunities available for international students, especially in Canada, the aging population, and there are certain jobs which local people don't want to take. So, an international student
Yeah.
normally will start from those kind of jobs where, because you're starting part time, many of the international students, when they come over to Canada or any other Western world, they have zero experience. They have
Yeah.
not worked at all. Many students don't even have the basic skill set to interact with people from different communities. It
Okay.
becomes a little bit difficult. I'll give you an example. Recently, I went out to Domino's to order pizza.
Okay.
And these days, people are not aligned with any customer walking into the restaurant to order. So first question I was asked was, "Did you order online?" I said, "No, I didn't order online," because if an online order comes in, it's so easy for people to prepare that
Yeah.
everything is already in the system. They know what they need to make, and it could be ready. But when customers walk in, these days it's a little bit of trouble for people who are working even in the food industry. What I observed was these are all international students who are working there, and this one student was being trained to do the job, and the other person was working behind the desk and was telling this employee, now you take the order, now you do this. So you have to be very patient sometimes. And it's good
Yeah.
that these international students are taking up jobs, but if they build up their skill set, it would be really good for them. Just after my order, another person walked in, and the same question was asked: "Did you order online?" And
Order online.
the lady was like, "No, I just walked in. Can you serve me?" And she also observed that this person is a new person, a newbie, and
New
uh,
person. Yeah.
so there are jobs. A lot of call center jobs are available. A lot of jobs in manufacturing industries are available. Student has to be upfront enough to build up their skill set.
New skill set. Correct. I know. Okay. So, the next question is, can a student immigrate to Canada after studies?
Canada, as I say, is a land of opportunities. And yes, there are a lot of options available for international students. Many of them
Yeah.
are looking at Canada for immigration purposes itself. But can all the students immigrate to Canada? It's a question mark there. Not all, because
Okay.
some of them might be taking courses which might not fit into the job market, or some come over to Canada and they don't fulfill the requirements of the PR. The first thing
Yeah.
which all international students should keep in mind is, yes, Canada is a generous country. Yes, the government has allowed you to work unlimited hours till next December. But what you need to
Yeah.
keep in mind is your first goal is education in Canada. Many of these international students, when they move in, um, their focus shifts from education to part-time jobs. So when they concentrate more on the jobs, then they lose on the grades. So there is a fine line
Yes.
written on the study permit. As long as you maintain what is being given to you, you'll be allowed to work. So if they fail, the right to work off campus and on campus can be withdrawn. If they work overtime, which was the case earlier but not now for the next 1 year, um, the
Yes.
students have to walk a fine line there. So work and education has to be a balance. Make sure you're passing with good grades. Make sure you will graduate from the diploma or degree you are here to complete, and make sure you follow the local laws and local norms in the country. A minor infraction on your record can actually make it difficult for you to immigrate, especially like if you have a credit card in Canada and if you forget to pay the bills in time, that will be reported on your credit history. um, if you end up doing shoplifting, that would be something on your record as well. If you are driving in Canada and you drive under influence, then that could be something on your record. So there are many things. As long as you are a law-abiding citizen here, there are chances for you to immigrate, but you will have to
Okay.
reappear for IELTS exam at the time of application of
Yes.
PR. You have to see which province actually needs someone like that particular candidate. Let's say in Ontario, there's a stream called Ontario Graduate Stream. So that Ontario graduate stream is for those who have completed a master's degree in Ontario. So if you're in Ontario, you completed a master's degree, you will be in the priority queue under that category to be able to immigrate to Canada in Ontario under the provincial nomination. Then there are other provinces in Canada where students should look at. But what happens is majority of the students want to come to Ontario and British Columbia. And what
Yes.
happens then
Yeah.
is there's more competition, less opportunities. In the end, many of these students will have to move out to the other provinces like Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Prince Edward Island,
Yeah.
or other places. So keep all of those in mind. Yeah.
So, though immigration is a vast topic,
Yeah.
okay. So, our next question to you is, can students bring dependents with them to Canada?
Certainly. The government of Canada is very generous. They're changing the norms. And every, like for us, even as a regulated Canadian immigration consultant, we also feel like um, things can change in a night time, right? You get up in the morning, you get a new notification that some other rules are there. Yes, they can bring
Yeah.
in their dependents, but again, there is a lot more that goes in an application. So from the financial perspective to the strength of the relationship, there are a lot of things which need to be seen in that particular application. um, these are cases where we would like to look at all documents in detail, and then we suggest our clients, will it make sense for them to apply with their dependents right away, or will it make sense for this applicant to come over to Canada, establish themselves first, complete at least one semester, and then apply for the dependent? Because there are many things which go in the profile. But whenever someone is married and has kids, let's say, and they are applying for
Yeah.
their study permit as an individual, there is a section within the visa documentation where we provide family information, and under that, they will put all of those things. As I'm married, this is the person I'm married to, or I have a child, this is the child I have, so that everything is legally submitted to the government of Canada, and there's no misrepresentation there. So we will say, if you're married, if you have a child, don't hide any information. If you hide it now,
Okay.
in future, if you are granted a study permit or a work permit to Canada, and you want to bring in your dependents, and in your initial application you said no, I don't have any, that constitutes a misrepresentation, and chances are, if reported, your initial study permit and work permit can also be cancelled. So always be honest and upfront. Yep.
Okay. Okay. And now coming to the refusals. So, what are the reasons or the possibilities for the refusals for study permits?
The very common reason I've seen, or many of our regulatory immigration consultants have seen, and students have seen, is sometimes the visa officer will say the study, your proposed program of studies does not match your previous education, or your academic performance is not sufficient for you to be granted a study permit, or you have
Okay.
limited family ties in your home country, so we don't expect, and we think that you will not return back to your home country after completion of your program. So there are many criterias, um, but most of the students, they will fall under the section where financial documentation is not strong enough. So when we look at
Okay.
any study permit application or even a visitor visa application, we look at the financial documents. Um, we want our
Right.
clients to be honest and upfront with us. And if they don't have the funds, we do assist them to obtain bank loans for their education purposes for certain places, and then they can take an education loan and apply. We will not recommend any of our clients to go ahead and take borrowed money and show any transactions in their bank account and all. If that's done, the chances are they're not going to secure a study permit. The other reasons could be health factor, again, because there's going to be a medical examination. If something comes up which could be a burden on the public resources, then also this person can be denied a study permit or visitor visa or a work permit. The other could be anything criminal on their file, right? Criminal record, if it's there, then also they can be denied an entry to Canada.
Okay. So
Mhm.
these are the basic reasons, like student can face a refusal.
Right.
I understand. So my last question to you is, what can an applicant do if, his visa gets rejected? What is the next step?
I'll say, don't get disheartened. Sometimes these things happen. Even the
Yeah,
best of the best applications
definitely.
also can get them a refusal, and many times it could be a systematic error also, or it could be
Yeah.
something that the officer missed. Reach out to any regulated Canadian immigration consultant. Share your file which you used to apply, share all those documentation, and let us review your documents so that we can suggest you what went wrong in the file. I've also seen some of the clients, they come to us, they want us to work on their files, and then we give them a list. So, as their consultant, we will give them a documentary list that these are the documents which we need, and these will fulfill the criteria given by the Canadian authorities. And those who provide us with list of the documents which we ask for, we have seen them get successfully getting their visas. Whereas there are certain clients, they will come over to us, they want us to represent them, but when it comes to giving them any kind of list, they will choose what to share and what not to share. It's almost like going to a doctor and not telling the doctor that this is what I'm feeling, right? Unless and until you tell the doctor that my body is showing me X symptoms, the doctor cannot diagnose you. The same way for any immigration consultant, unless and until we get to see the documents which we really need, we will not be able to assist any of our students. So be honest with us, fulfill the
Yeah.
checklist, provide us with all the documents, and then we'll be able to help you out. Yeah,
That's correct. That's correct. That's actually the utmost thing, that you should be very honest with your profile and the things, so that a person can help you in the similar manner or in the similar way, and or else we can find a solution to it if there's something which is not working for you. Right?
exactly. Yeah.
That's it. Thank you so much for answering my all the questions. I hope the people who are watching us has also got
If,
some solutions.
what I'll say, we can wait for, let's say, a couple of minutes. Uh,
Yeah,
and if there are any
definitely.
questions, you can ask us now, and we'll try to answer your questions. And if not, then we'll connect with you at a later stage. So we'll give you a couple of minutes.
Definitely.
Okay, it seems like there are no questions right now, and we'll end this
I
session.
guess we have covered all the corners.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. If we have covered all, that's great, and we will be doing more sessions on continuing basis in
Definitely.
coming on. So if you have any
Yeah.
questions, you can always reach out to us, and we'll get back to you. Um, you can reach out to our team members in India. You can reach out to our team members in Nepal and in Bangladesh as well, so that they can help you out and assist you in your journey to Canada. We are bringing many more products for our clients, not only Canada, but there would be education opportunities in US, immigration opportunity to Canada under startup visa and different visa categories, immigration opportunities to Europe, education overseas. Um, so I just see a question from Dipesh. Okay, Dipesh, um, you can certainly connect with me. There is an email which you should use to send all your documents first, and we'll be more than happy to assist you. And I hope everything is well in Nepal, and you and your family are doing well. So reach out to us via info@rush2canada.ca. Send all your documents, and then we'll be able to connect. I'm typing it for you as well so that you clearly understand. Perfect. It's there. Okay, then. Take care. Thank you, Prableen. Oh,
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you to all the viewers to, giving us some time of you. Have a good night. Thank
take
you.
care. Bye bye.